Good morning, everybody. I'm hoping that this week's live is going to be a little bit better than last week's, because last week's was so shocking. It kept breaking up. I'm so sorry. I just think, that the internet, morning Gina, morning Nadine, lovely to see you. I just think the internet's, under a little bit of stress at the moment. And I mean, goodness only knows what is going on in the ethers right now, but it's a bit rocky out there. I have to say, I've just had to smudge my whole space. I kind of woke up this morning and I'm like, I'm just feeling a little bit kind of out of mourning. I'm feeling a little bit out of sorts. So I'm just having to kind of, balance my energy. I just did a little bit of smudging. I guess it's the full moon energy. We had a big full moon last night. Oof. And yesterday I had a gorgeous swim in the ocean, and my daughter and I, we took all our crystals down there with us and cleansed them in the ocean, and that felt really good. But sometimes the full moon can bring stuff to the surface, and for clearing, it can be emotional, it can be physical. You always get more kind of activity in your guts and all that sort of thing at this time. So there's definitely something that's kind of gone up, and my system's having to kind of clear it. So I'm just being really mindful of that. So I'm just gonna be gentle with myself today. Anyway, I hope everybody is feeling well. Little pre-chat before the reading. Okay, so last week, and I'm sharing this because it gave me an idea, and it also, this is where, do you want to call it woman's business, or just that divine feminine energy, which exists in a slightly different, it's in the mysteries, it's in the outer realms, it's just the mystery of life. So anyway, my daughter in the UK, Georgia, announced last weekend that she had COVID. And so we basically had COVID in our family, but remotely, okay? And she lives with her partner, and she basically had to isolate from him. So it was really, really hard. She got her dog, they shared the dog. So her dog Margot came in and out. But as soon as she told me, I was like, what can I do? And it was really interesting because I had just been watching Amanda Ellis. I don't know if anybody follows her. She's over at Angelic Ancestral Colors, I think that's what it's called. But anyway, she talked about how she literally had COVID in her family, and none of them have had this, and so 2 of them got sick, the other 2 didn't, she didn't. And she was saying that, she'd set up healing grids. And I always, I recently had set up a little healing thing for George, just to boost her energy, just with a photograph and a candle and a couple of flowers. Anyway, I upped it, seriously. So she told me what was going on and some of her symptoms. And so literally, it's so interesting. I set up a little altar. I've got an altar here in my room, but I set up an altar in my bedroom. And I had flowers, I had crystals. But what was really interesting, the first day, I kind of intuitively pulled out things from great-grandparents on my husband's side and on my side, like my grandfather's, war badge. And, there were various things that came out from the ancestors, so from great-grandparents, that wanted to be on the altar. Burning different oils. So I just had my oil burner and a few crystals and a few stones anyway, and some flowers. So I had flowers, bougainvillea from my mum's bougainvillea plant that I planted in her memory, and also lemon myrtle, which is a very powerful leaf that is used by the Aboriginal people here for healing, for respiratory, colds, anything like that. As soon as I get a little bit of a tickle, I'm on to lemon myrtle. I've got 2 huge bushes here in my garden. So I put those on her altar. And I picked some cards, and that first day it felt very kind of, I don't know, resilient energy that I needed to kind of put on that altar. Then, and the oils were like frankincense. I can't remember what I did. I've got photos of them all. If anybody wants to know more, let me just DM me and I'll let you know. And then the next day was different. I picked different cards, different oils burning, and all of the great-grandparents stuff came out. And then sort of, I think more crystals came in. A stone from our cottage in Scotland wanted to be there, and burned those. So anyway, I did this while she was just sort of transitioning through kind of the worst of it. And then on Friday morning, and every day I would send her, you know, what was on the altar. And the last day, I sent her the picture of the oils that I was burning. Okay, I said, okay, I'm burning black pepper, rose and eucalyptus. And she messaged me back. She went, you are joking. I have been eating so much black pepper today, and I've literally just had a bath in rose and eucalyptus oil. Okay, so I'm telling you, the power of tuning in and just going, even though we can't be with loved ones, you know, even if you were in a situation of strife in your family, creating a little altar, just an intentional altar of healing is a really, really powerful thing that we can do, because we can feel really helpless. And then when we're helpless and we feel stuck, that's when, you know, that survival nervous system can kick in, and it can just throw us out, and that's when we can start pointing fingers and flaring up. I have since decided to use this altar for the planet, you know, for everything that's going on. And today it wanted to deal with kind of the oppression that a lot of people are feeling, certainly here in Australia around lockdowns. Certainly, I'm sure, you know, women in Afghanistan are feeling, you know, a lot of people are feeling it. And so that very hard line of, you know, very oppressive masculine energy. I'm not going to say it's associated with men, though a lot of men are making those decisions, but us here in New South Wales, you know, our premier is a woman. So it's not around women, it's about that masculine energy, which when it flips into its shadow aspect can just be do as I say. Very oppressive, and it doesn't trust. That's where the feminine goes. Just trust that people can look after themselves, take responsibility. There's always going to be a few, but the majority of people are sensible. Okay, and we can carry that. We can carry that. So today I'd set up my altar, and it's got some quite strong energy around it, protecting my candle, and I have a little love heart in the middle. And so it's something that if you feel called at the moment, and whatever's going on, it might be you have somebody in your family who's not very well, you might be feeling, you know, not great. No, as I say, I've got my own altar here, but this is more for other people and for the world in general, is create a little altar. Okay, now you don't have to do crystals and essential oils. Okay, that's just my gig. But it might just be that you're like, my daughter had made sorbet the other day, and it was full of vitamin C because it was made from, it had lemon myrtle and lemons, and it was very powerful. And I said to her, she said, oh, Mum, taste it. And I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I said, go and give some to Georgie. And so she just put some in a little cup and put it on the altar. Okay. So what I'm saying is, you know, if you're baking biscuits or something like that, put one on your altar, you know, for all the hungry people in the world. If you're a gardener, bring some of your flowers in and just put them there, you know, to bring some more peace and love to humanity. It's just an opportunity for, what other ideas to have? You know, any crafting. If you're a crafter, you know, if you're a knitter or a crocheter or something, just bring that in. Bring something that you've made and just put that there. because it's that energy that we need at the moment that will help balance this very intense, oppressive energy that we've got kind of around. So yeah, if you're called, that's just what we did as a family to support our daughter. She's much better now. You know, she's going back to work today, and she and her partner were reunited in their flat on Friday. So it just, you know, we can very easily go into panic and just sort of, it's like, what can we do? What skills have we got? So this is a really simple one, really easy to do, and something that we might be able to, you know, help shift things in humanity. I was just, you know, I was blown away by the power of it. So just popping that out there. Anyway, let's get on to the reading. I'm just going to have a sip of tea. Thank you so much to everybody who's joined. Lovely to see you all. Morning, Laura. Gorgeous to see so many people here. All right. Right. The overarching theme for the week. It's really interesting. I actually ended up picking up 2 cards because I felt so sort of out of sorts this morning. I was like, what else is going on? What else is going on? So this week we have got, I don't know if you can see that. It's from my my compassionate cards, and they're needs cards. So we need stimulation at the moment. Why? This is a card I picked from Peregrine Costa's Dream Seeds card, because we've got rigidity. Okay, so when you have rigidity in your system, in your energy field, you need to stimulate yourself. So this morning I got up, I don't know where I put it. I've got my big bamboo tapper from Katie Brindle, and I was just whacking my body just to get my whole system moving. But, you know, stimulation mentally, stimulation, you know, creatively. You know, I talk always about, you know, when I was really sick and I couldn't do anything, I just started doing online courses to get myself, you know, moving and out of that rigidity. You do not have to do an expensive online course, okay? There are some very reasonably priced ones around. So, you know, have a little look at something like that. It may be you need stimulation in terms of just moving your body. You need stimulation in terms of, you know, your palate. You know, if you're used to just sort of, you know, cooking the same kind of food all the time, we just started to sort of spice it up the last few days. You know, start to stimulate yourself, you know, there. If you're always, you know, creative and painting the same kind of things, stimulate yourself to try something different. This is a week to really stimulate yourself in a different way to get this very rigid energy that's in our energy field collectively and, you know, within ourselves. You know, just get it moving. So we started, you know, a little garden project yesterday. Well, at the weekend, I said to my son, I'm, you know, the sun, and I need a little bit covered. Next minute, we've got a whole structure being built, and you know, it's so exciting. All my plants are moving and shifting, and we've suddenly got this new outdoor space that we didn't have on Saturday, because I just had this creative, you know, I'm very much a responder. I kind of respond to things, and I was like, oh, it's getting hot, and, you know, oh, I can feel spring's arriving here, and the sun in Australia gets so hot. And suddenly we've got this solution, and it's great. So stimulation is our overarching theme. So if you're finding yourself stuck in rigid thinking, you know, you're feeling, you know, rigid creatively, whatever, stimulate yourself, okay? And sometimes this is where, you know, your shadow can hold your potential. So things that can really, you know, trigger you can sometimes be powerful for stimulating you. So if you're stuck in, you know, your echo chamber, it might be time to go and listen to a different, you know, view to the one that you're holding right now. I'm huge about that. I'm always listening to lots of different voices. I had to shut them off this weekend because I'd obviously clearly over listened. But, you know, I've listened to lots of different voices because I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I don't want to be in an echo chamber, because that stimulates me to be more in that beautiful, as I spoke about on Friday, that lovely mandala energy, which is the space in the middle, which I think we really need to inhabit more of at the moment. Anyway, okay, I've got card number 1, 2, 3. So card number 1, I am pulling from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck, okay? And we have the protection card, okay? Card number 1. It's really interesting. When I came in here, I was burning smudge, and in fact, when I pulled tarot cards before I came and sat here, I had Queen of Wands, which is very much my queen of getting shit done, as I call her, and then I had the Devil card, and then I had the Strength card, which tells me that there's something from the shadow coming up. It's the Devil card is always about being shackled. It's that rigidity, okay? And so protection, it's call back your power. So I'll give you an example. Sorry, did I show you the card, the protection card? That's the state of mind I'm in. Call back your power. So like this week, I had been out in the field. I like going out there and listening, what's going on, what are people doing? Letting it sit in my energy field, seeing what wants to come out and be shared. But I noticed by Friday, I was tired. I was like, and I was on my phone a lot. And I just said to my daughter, I need to stop. And, I got so much done. There were a couple of cushions that were, I don't know, falling apart, that sit outside, and, they're Hessian. And I just redid them all, got my granny's sewing machine out and redid them all. So suddenly I had space. And I feel at the moment, it's like recognizing when you feel like you're overdoing it because we're wanting to know what's going on, but at the same time it can just be too much for our nervous systems. This feels like withdraw, call back your power, okay? Call back your power. You don't need to be in all these different spaces. You will know when you've got to attend to something. The universe will show you. I'm going to talk about okay, I'll talk about it now. I had this situation. I was given a book to read by this somebody I'm working with right now, and I was as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I'm really interested about this person, and so I looked on their Instagram and I clicked on their bio to see their website or something like that, and down came this event for somebody completely different. I was like, why would she be advertising somebody else's event? But I was actually really interested in the event. It was a not very expensive, tiny little kind of workshop, and I was like, oh, that looks really interesting. I clicked onto that person's Instagram, as you do, and went, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm going to definitely sign up for that. I basically went back to the original Instagram, okay, of the person whose book I was reading, and I clicked back on the link just to go, I wonder if there's maybe anything in this link that, is of hers rather than this other woman's. I clicked on the link and it was a completely different link. It took me to her event. I was like, how on earth did that happen? I was meant to see the other event. Here's the thing. That's what happens in the world. If you're meant to see it, you're meant to hear it, it will get in front of you. And that happens the other way. I admitted, early on in the week, I was like messaging people, we need to be onto this. Don't pass on panic, Jen. This was about me understanding that if information is going to be in front of people, it will get there. But also they need to be ready to hear it too, okay? So just trust at the moment, and this comes back to that rigidity, that over-parenting that we're seeing in the external energy field right now. You do this, do that. It's like information will get to people. People will be told. The universe has its way of reminding people. Let me tell you, it really does. If they're not, supporting, the effort to, manage the virus and the pandemic in our communities. So and also keep people up to date on what we need to know about. So it was a real lesson for me in the information will be there when you're ready, and if you're meant to see something, you will see it. And also trust that if somebody's meant to hear what you're saying, just like me right now, if somebody's meant to be listening to this, they'll be here, they'll tune in, a friend will tell them, whatever. So the protection is, I kind of feel, is protect yourself from that part of you that might feel like you need to tell everybody about what they need to be doing, and also protect your energy field too from, I had somebody very early on sending me stuff, and I was like, listen, thanks so much, but please don't send me information like that. It's not for me. And I kind of feel at the moment that's perhaps where we need, that's the protection message, is around our exposure and trusting that the universe, that people will get to hear what they need to hear, that we need to stop over parenting and panicking, and that we need to protect ourselves and protect others from that part of us. Does that make sense? So protection works in both ways. I always say, I come into this study to protect me, but I also have to protect my loved ones when I'm feeling a bit gnarly and pointy-edged, okay? So that protection message, protect others from your and protect yourself too, okay? Because there's a lot of over-parenting going on in the collective. I can feel it too. Anything else that she has to say? No, I kind of feel that's what that was about. All right, we've now got our card number 2. I'll read all these just messages when I finish the reading, just because I need to keep in that headspace. But thank you for typing in things. Okay, angels, gods, goddesses, Toni Carmine Salerno. Angel of soul love. I just pulled this out actually, and I need to just find it again, because actually I quite like what he was saying. Time to look at how you value yourself, issues of self-love. Okay. The world around you is simply a reflection of your inner world beliefs and feelings, okay? There is a person or a group of people in your life at present who keep putting you down and undervaluing what you say or do. Okay, the angel of soul love realizes that this is a painful and hurtful situation for you, and is shown up in your reading today to help you work through and heal this issue. Okay, so the first thing I'm getting is I'm getting an image of the Afghan woman who are feeling very oppressed, very frightened, how are they going to continue their education, the levels of freedom that they had. And I mean, can't we all feel that to some degree, how they're feeling, not to the same extent by any stretch, but my ancestors, my female ancestors will have gone through something similar of not being allowed to share their voice. And I know I've got a lot of women on here, and I feel like this is for me around the voice of the feminine, okay? The voices of the feminine is everything that I've just been talking about. Let's set up an altar, let's burn some oils, it can help, that sort of thing. That is the feminine aspect. It's like the mystery of life. The masculine energy is like, right, we need to be careful, we need to wear masks, we need to, socially distance, all that kind of thing, okay? It's both. But it's that feminine voice that is not being heard so much, which is why there isn't that compassionate and empathic aspect to these lockdowns, if you know, where people are having to, loved ones are, being seen through, screens or glass or things like that. That was all taken out of it. And I feel like this is where we can look at where have we been oppressing our own feminine voice. the feminine principle that allows our emotions to be felt, that shows up, like I just did just now, saying, I'm not feeling, crash hot, but I'm here. Instead of going, oh no, everything's fine, but everybody can tell I'm not feeling great. It's that emotional, it's that having empathy and compassion, and I do feel that there is that those insecurities lie within that divine feminine aspect of all of us, that we can collectively begin to inhabit more. And this is not just for women, this is for men as well. Where can we be more emotional? Where can we rest more? Where can we nourish ourselves more deeply? The angel of soul love, I feel, is really here to kind of balance that energy, help us balance that energy, because as I share in my own story, it's not been easy allowing this part of me out. I'm a very kind of analytical, brainy, academic-y kind of person. And to allow this part of me that loves oracle cards and the mystery and the healing and all of that out has been a journey, let me tell you. And ask anybody who shares those parts of themselves how that journey has been. It's not easy to bring out that other part of ourselves. So I'm wondering whether, it says here, start to have loving thoughts for yourself. You are perfect just as you are. There is no need to change anything about you except for the perceptions you hold about yourself. Affirm to yourself, I am love, I am light, I value and honor myself through my thoughts and through all I say and do. I think for me, the more I have built up, not my self-image, that's a whole different thing, that's very egocentric, but the more I have allowed my humanness to be seen, allowed my shame to be seen, allowed just all of it to be seen, the more I have become whole as a person. And for me, that angel of soul love is coming in to remind you of your humanness and remind you that all those parts of yourself that are not necessarily mirrored by the dominant world view, dominant paradigm, the dominant belief system that we have, allow them to come out, even in private, even in journaling, even to a friend. Start to allow that, I need to rest today, instead of, I'm just going to keep going, no, I actually had a nap today. Don't feel guilty. Well, you can feel guilty about it. That's a normal response, but share it, okay? Because often when we share those parts of ourselves, we're giving other people permission to do the same. And also that creative part of ourselves, the divine feminine is very much a beautiful, creative, nurturing, lovely energy. Okay, card number 2. Okay, card number 3, we have got from my Archetype Wild Unknown by Kim Kranz Archetype deck. I have got the Nectar. Okay. In Hindu mythology, there is a miraculous substance known as amrit or nectar that contains infinite healing power. This golden nectar or sacred elixir is a drink of immortality, and like its sister substance, soma, is known to activate subtle, intelligent forces that ease the mind, body, and spirit. Though esoteric, these images lead us to the central energy of this archetype, the sweet, potent, heavenly essence that lubricates our spirit back to life. The Nectar card calls us to identify and relish in places, practices, people, and activities that regenerate and heal. I feel like that's the stimulation, stimulating this healing response. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I hadn't even thought about that. Stimulating that healing response. Medicine is needed, and it comes in subtle form, just as I was talking about with my daughter, Georgia, that you may be overlooking. Seek the most sensuous, fragrant flower in the garden you have forgotten. Don't underestimate this remedy. It is said when someone has activated this substance within, it is reflected in their shimmering eyes. When light, glowing, relaxed, subtle illumination. When dark, fixation on fixing, aggressive approach to healing. People aren't seeing any parallels. I'm like, yes! Sense the nectar within you dripping from the crown of the head, soothing the brain. Let it drip down the spine like sweet honey. Okay. The nectar, the mystic, the mystic who, like Krishna, turns poison into nectar, and its truth can serve as a potent elixir for healing. Ooh! You know, this really kind of makes sense to what I'm talking about in terms of that altar, that healing altar. I feel like it's almost a healing altar that maybe I'm calling this community to, you know, help participate in, you know, if it feels right for you. But it's this nectar that can we bring up a healing force within us that allows, you know, when you just smell something that you're cooking. Like yesterday I was making this beautiful sauce to serve with a fish, and we did on the day before we did this delicious, my daughter made this beautiful rub to put on some chicken wings. And I'm dribbling, just thinking about it. And it was Ottolenghi, who is an amazing chef in the UK. And I think he's Moroccan, I'm not sure. But anyway, and it had all these beautiful, you know, cumin seeds and turmeric and oh my God, and it smelled heavenly. And then eating with our hands, you know, the chicken wing, oh my God, that is like full on healing to me. But equally, you know, when I was burning oils for my daughter and I would start to smell that essence, that also was really healing. So I'm just talking about my, you know, the sense of smell, using the sense of smell and taste here in that healing. But also, you know, the sense of hearing, you know, when you listen to, sometimes when I'm needing healing to settle my nervous system, I will listen to Gregorian chanting, monks' Gregorian chanting, and just that beautiful, you know, sound. It's so echoey. That really settles me. A candle, you know. How powerful are, you know, candles at really settling our eyes, you know. For me, we had a big bonfire. Did we have it this week? I think we did. We lit it this week or last weekend. We had some wood and, you know, things for the garden that needed burning. The power of watching a candle or fire burning, or just in the winter watching, you know, my wood burning stove. Oof! That's such a delight for my eyes. So I'm feeling like this nectar is like, can we find those healing nectars within our own life, and then can we bring them in? And, you know, as I say, if you're feeling cold, bring them in and place them on our altars for the world right now. You know, I'm already going, I'm off already, let me tell you. My healing altar's already tomorrow. I can see it's going to have spices in there, you know, and a few different things, and, you know, things from the garden, my lemon myrtle, you know, rub it and get that lovely scent of lemon myrtle going. Can we use that to create a healing response within us? And that, as that creates a healing response in that, can we allow that, the ripple effects of that out into the universe, out into our planet at the moment that is, you know, really struggling. So can we find that focus? Oof! I feel a lot better now, tell you, I feel a lot better. So if you're just tuning in, the overarching card for the week is stimulation. And it's against the rigidity. I pulled another card against that. The stimulation of, well, if you listen to the rest of the reading, you're going to hear that. But I'm feeling that stimulation of our senses to bring in this beautiful healing nectar. Protecting ourselves from this rigidity. Calling our power back. You know, when we're hearing things that are really unsettling our nervous system, can we just protect ourselves from them? But equally so, can we protect other people from that part of us that's trying to pass it on to other people? Do this, do that, you need to, you know, in everybody's business. Protect ourselves and protect other people from us when we act it, that part of us is activated. The angel of self-love, can we really shore up some, you know, really beautiful self-compassion, you know, honoring our humanness, okay, but also allowing more of our humanness to be seen, you know, our emotions to be felt and expressed. And as I said, I feel this is around more of expressing that feminine aspect of ourselves, and however that looks, you know, creatively, might be, you know, vocally, it might be, you know, musically, I don't know, within cooking, whatever. I feel like, how can we value ourselves, really value ourselves for who we are and how we contribute to the world, okay? It's really interesting because I saw envy coming up a couple of times. Came up in one of my readings that I did for Australia. I did that over the weekend just for me to kind of see where we are. But also I saw it in somebody else's reading, the envy card, which they didn't speak to. And I do feel that often we can fall into envy when we don't appreciate anything wonderful about ourselves, okay, where everybody else is doing something better than us. And I feel like we can really balance that energy when we focus on our own greatness and magnificence, and really value who we are, okay, filling up that cup. And lastly, the nectar. Oh, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's that beautiful healing, benevolent healing energy, activating it. However that may be for you on any given day, at any given moment, how is it active within you? You know, it might be, you know, in painting, lighting a candle, as I said, smelling a flower, creating beautiful food, you know, walking barefoot on the ground, swimming in the ocean. Whatever activates that, let's really bring in that energy into our energy field, because it will ripple out into the rest of the planet and go to where it's really needed for people that haven't got the space to do that right now, or that are struggling to do that right now. Can we do our bit? Anyway, so lovely to see you all. I'm just going to have a quick look at things. Laura said, this weekend encouraged the same for me, tending to my soul and not Instagram. Oh, I'm so glad you listened to that. So important to take time away from our electronic devices to really kind of fill ourselves back up again. Otherwise, we've got nothing to give. So lovely to see so many people on here this morning. Thank you so much. Just so you know, I'm freely give these to anybody, but if anybody would like to donate, I've got on my bio or in the link below, because I post this in a few different places, there's a donation button, and I've got a little PayPal account, and you can put in a teeny tiny little contribution, which is always just such a blessing. So I'm just putting that out there. If anybody has ever felt called, I had recently my neighbour who got so much out of my readings during a bit of a tough time. She gave me a free massage, and that was a really beautiful gift, and I really appreciated that. So I'm just putting that out there if that feels like something you would like to do. Anyway, as always, have a beautiful week. So lovely to see so many familiar faces on here, and I'll see you all next week. And as always, I will probably drop in during the week. Anyway, lots of love to you all.